Hello there, welcome back to another review. So today we're going to be talking about Game of Death 2, otherwise known as Tower of Death, which was made in 1980. I have seen sometimes this film being listed as being made in 1981, but I've always been under the belief and the understanding it was actually made and completed in 1980. Directed by See-yuen, who most famously produced Snake and Eagle's Shadow, as well as Drunken Master, and also No Retreat, No Surrender with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now, I personally have always had a soft spot for this movie. It works as sort of a sequel to Game of Death, it works as sort of a tribute to Bruce Lee, but what many don't know is that all the action is handled by Yuen Woo-ping and the Yuen clan. We even have Yuen Bu in this movie. I think initially, during pre-production, they thought they had a lot more unused and deleted scenes of Bruce Lee they could actually use and fit into the narrative to make more of a well-rounded film. However, most of the scenes you do see in regards to Bruce Lee are from Enter the Dragon, sort of outtakes, unused scenes from that movie, or just snippets from his Hong Kong-based movies. We have Kim Tai-chung here as our lead, credited as Tong Lung, who was actually one of Bruce Lee's stand-ins during the original Game of Death. He plays Bobby Lowe and is the brother of Billy Lowe, which is Bruce Lee via archive footage, who gets murdered around about a third of the way through the movie whilst attending the funeral of his sensei. We have a great support cast in this movie too, from the likes of Hwang Jang-lee, Roy Horan, and even Lee Hoi-sang is in this one. So, Bobby travels to Japan to investigate his brother's death, where he meets Lewis, that's Roy Horan's character, who resides at the Palace of Death, and he has a taste for raw meat and drinking blood. Bobby learns of an underground temple and sets out to get his revenge and find out the truth. Now, the movie, believe me, makes very little sense, and I remember when I saw it for the first time when I was very young, I couldn't understand why on earth Bruce Lee was killed off halfway through, or for that matter why there was so much footage of these other movies sort of spliced in there. The thing is, once Billy Lowe gets killed off, this gives the filmmakers the freedom to just concentrate on creating a hell of a fun, watchable B-movie kung fu flick without the need to sort of keep splicing in footage of Bruce Lee, which, to its credit, Tower of Death more than succeeds in this, as the film becomes a fight-filled guilty pleasure, at least in my eyes. There are various versions of the film. The Hong Kong cut is actually shorter than the international cut, which includes the classic greenhouse fight with Casanova Wong. The Korean cut all but ignores the Bruce Lee angle altogether and contains very different footage and focuses more on the Kim Tai-chung character. But whatever version you see, regardless of the ridiculous plot and the over-the-top characters, there is some fantastic choreography here thanks to Yuen Woo-ping and Yuen Bu. Kim Tai-chung puts in a great performance. Roy Horan looks like he's having an absolute blast here, and whilst maybe not ideally what the producers had in mind when they set out to make this film, it still works as sort of a semi-tribute to Bruce Lee, as well as being an enjoyable kung fu fight frenzy flick in its own right. So if you haven't seen Game of Death 2, otherwise known as Tower of Death, make sure to go and check it out.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.